Hi, morning everyone. Welcome back to Morning Kappa. Right, so if you look at the S&P 500, well, it finished flat, I would say, on yesterday's session, even though the highly anticipated um job report was stronger than expected, and the index closed at 6941 points. And I think the market is still in indecision, right, as the investors are confused whether to celebrate the resilient economy from the recent job data release, or to fear that the Fed will keep the interest rate high for longer, right? So I think the NFP data release yesterday showed more jobs in the market, and employment dropping to somewhere around 4%, right? 4.4%, right? Which initially spiked the bond yields and also kept the stock gains further, right? So I think with the rate cut timeline now potentially pausing further into the future, right? I think the recent price action looks like more on the pause to digest the new I would say the new norm, or the new reality, right? Um Also, do expect that the continued consolidation in the next session, as trader likely to stay on the sideline until the CPI inflation data to release this I think this Friday, right? So we have published US trading stocks yesterday overnight, right? So looking at the one that we published, we have Pfizer, right? Stock code PFE, right? So the stock is experiencing a breakout above this $27 level, and now we can expect that the stock will travel towards the 28 dollar and a half on a strong momentum, followed by the next resistance at $30 level. So now if they counter to reverse, do watch out for $26 level for the immediate support, as it could indicate an initial trend reversal signal, right? Also, we have Dell Technologies, stock code DELL. So I think if you look at charts here, right, the counter charted a higher high market structure, forming a higher low formation, reaching this $125 level, and also eyeing to reach higher towards $140 level. So if the stock climb higher above this, we could see that it might travel towards the $155 level for the second resistance. And now, if the stock slide lower below the $117 levels, this might signal a shift to a bearish structure, right? So um, for the China A50 futures, will finish lower on Wednesday session, even though the Hong Kong market managed to uh, stay stay green, right, stay positive. So I think the index closed at somewhere around 14,946 points, which went down about 0.41%. So I think the market is trading cautiously, as investors were disappointed by the weaker CPI data on previous I mean the recently CPI data, right? So yeah, I think CPI data is now pointing at 0.2, which also fall due to the falling food prices. I mean the weak domestic demand is offsetting the optimism from the US. Also, if you follow the morning kappa yesterday, notice that we mentioned there could be a move for the AI stock to rally for the on the sentiment factors, right? But however, there's still a leftover dragged down by the sharp drop in the semiconductor stock, like the SMIC, right, after warning of the memory chip shortage. So for this China A50, do expect a thin liquidity and also sideways movement in the next session, as the traders move to the sideline ahead of the upcoming CNY holidays, right? So for the WTI crude oil futures will finish higher on Wednesday session despite the weekly inventory report was bearish, right? So I think the contract closed at somewhere around $64.8 dollar per barrel, which went up by 1.1%. So the market is trading with resilient, I think, as the investors completely ignored the massive rise in the U.S. Crude stockpile, which I mean, according to Bloomberg, it was somewhere around 8.5 million barrel to focus on the geopolitical risk. So with that, I mean, the U.S. now is ordering a second aircraft carrier to the Middle East and also considering to seizing Iranian tankers. And I think the war premium has returned, right? So yeah, I think the stronger than expected NFP data also is the recession fears, confirming that the fuel demand remains stable. So I expect a firm opening, right, into the next session for WTI crude oil futures as traders continue to prioritize the war headlines. So, yeah, we still keep our positive bias unchanged and continue to focus at the $68 level, together with $70 level for the resistance, right? So, moving to our local market, our Malaysia market. So, well, it finished higher yesterday for KLCI, sorry, FBM KLCI. On Wednesday session, even though the FKLI futures dipped slightly. So I think the market is trading with a defensive split, as the local funds aggressively into the plantation stock. To price in the bullish MPOB data with futures traders sold down to de-risk ahead of the NFP data due last night, right? So I believe today that the price action looks like a smart money positioning in. I think insti are buying the dip in commodities, right? So expect a sharp move in the next session as the NFP result. I mean, coming resulting from the NFP data last night, right? So now, if you look here, the Bursa Malaysia yesterday session, um, finished strong yesterday with the KLCI climbing somewhere around 0.51%, largely supported by the heavy buying in those banking as well as some consumer names right here. Um, Together with the plantation sector as well. So if you see here, right, Maybank, Public Bank, the major driver for the upward momentum, and we also saw, I mean, a stand-up performance in Sime Darby, which surged over 5%. And also do not forget that we have published Sime Darby, the technical recommendation earlier this week, right? So I think meanwhile, the Pharma Niaga also dominated the trading activity as some of the, um, I mean, if you can see here, is one of the most active stock of the day yesterday. So yeah, moving on to our Malaysia trading stocks, we have Masing Group for today. So I think the stock is on its breakout formation higher at 1.15 level on a strong volume as well, right? So with that, we expect the momentum to keep bullish. And it's not able to propel higher to test the next resistance at 1.25 cent, followed by 1.30 cent level. So if the stock to clear somewhere around 1.10 support, this could reverse the cost to trend lower. And next we have tech stock. And I think if you follow the stock closely, right, yesterday the company has secured somewhere around 55 ringgit 55 million ringgit worth of contract from the government to upgrade some I think some IT things lah, right? So yeah, the stock is experiencing a breakout as well at 26 cent level. So if the stock remain bullish, we expect the price to reach somewhere around 29 cent level in the coming session, together with high volume as well. Second resistance is at 31 cent level, so do keep an eye at 24 cent level if any attempt of uh, uh reversal, right? So also, I mean, if I can share, right? Some of you have been asking about this stock recently, yesterday, right? So I think might as well I share it with you guys together. So if you look here for Samdabi stocks, right? Which I mentioned earlier that we have published this stock, I think somewhere around Monday or Tuesday. So if you see here, actually, I saw a pattern here, which is inverted head and shoulder, where it's actually a reversal pattern from bearish to bullish, if somewhere like this, lah, right? And the best part is the recent pullback, right here, deemed completed after the higher. High structure form, and not only that, if you focus at the moving average, right, uh, at the recent um day here, right? You see that now it is in the correct order, which is the uh bullish market structure order, where the longer SMA, which is the 200 SMA, should be the furthest from the price, and the shortest SMA, which is the 21 day, should be the closest to the price. So I think overall, the reversal move, the initial reversal move or the initial impulsive move is there lah, right? So also next, for Pharma Niaga, I think investors are not positive on this counter, right? Reflecting from the price movement. And now if you see here, the price has been steadily moving up after it rebound from this 21-day SMA line. So I think by the help of the Fibonacci projection level, the immediate resistance we should look at is somewhere around 33 cent, 34.5 cent, and also together with 36 cent level. Also, do note that the overall trend is is bullish, and any attempt of reversal at this juncture is only short-term pullback before any uh, uh, impulsive, um, impulsive wave to happen, right? So that's all for Sun and also Pharma Niaga. And lastly, for the FCPO, it finished lower on Wednesday session as the market reacted negatively to the fresh export data. I think the commodity closed somewhere around 40-60 per ton, which went down almost 1% yesterday. And I think the market is also experiencing a sell on news correction as investors lock the profit yesterday from the MPOB report, spoke by the new data showing that the export uh, dropped, right? So I think cautious sentiment still lingering around the market. Expect the market to test the 4,000 support level first before it might trend further um, lower, right? So I'll stop here and pass you to the next presenter. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Emery. Morning, everyone. Let me continue with quick comments on the FY25 results of both breweries. Essentially, both of them released their full year results yesterday. So we will just share some key highlights and summary of the results and do some comparison here. In terms of the earnings growth, we saw Heineken reporting a -2 earnings growth year on year in FY25 versus Carlsberg's positive 8%, but I don't think that is in any way suggesting any sort of fundamental strength or weakness, but more of one-off and base effect. Heineken was experiencing an effective tax rate normalization as FY24 benefited from a low tax rate. And I think if you look at the cash flow statement, Heineken in FY25 actually recorded higher write-off for its PPE and receivables. And lastly, in terms of Chinese New Year loading for 2025 Chinese New Year, you can see Heineken loading more of its Chinese New Year sales in fourth quarter 24, and hence 24 was a higher base. Whereas for Carlsberg, which reported 8% positive earnings growth, they benefited from one of positive Singapore trade adjustments due to the previous over provision of their trade discount. And they have also loaded a bit more in first quarter 25 for their Chinese New Year sales, for their 2025 Chinese New Year sales. So which means for Heineken, their FY24 base was a bit lower. In terms of dividend payout ratio, we saw Heineken continue to pay out 100%, whereas Carlsberg was, I think, focusing a bit more on debt repayment. So payout ratio only implies they only managed to pay out as 90% of their earnings for FY25. But having said that, we believe there is room for Carlsberg to pay more going forward after the repayment of borrowings. If you look at their balance sheet, they only have about 25 million left in borrowings. From highlights from the briefing, I think both have observed a volume slowdown after the price increase in November to pass on the higher excise duty, but they are seeing a pickup in January and February driven by Chinese New Year, but it's still too early to draw a conclusion on the underlying demand. Visit Malaysia year 2026 is expected to help in driving higher volumes, but Carlsberg is actually expecting a muted impact from the World Cup this year, given the unfavorable timing of the matches. Forex-wise, we believe Heineken should benefit more from the stronger ringgit as Carlsberg has some exposure outside Malaysia in Singapore and Sri Lanka, so that will offset some of the savings from the ringgit strength. Generally, I think for both, we are expecting earnings growth to be supported by full impact of price increases that they have taken last year. We are also expecting the improving consumer sentiment and rising tourist arrivals to help in driving the consumption growth. Essentially, we are maintaining our buy costs on both Heineken and Carlsberg. We have made some minor changes to our earnings forecast and target prices. Our target price for Heineken is now 27 ringgit 60 cent based on 17 times PE, and for Carlsberg 20 ringgit 80 cent based on a lower 16 times forward PE. Dividend yields wise, I think it will be quite close. We are projecting 6.9% for Heineken in FY26 based on an assumption of 100% payout, and for Carlsberg 6.8% based on an assumption of 95% payout ratio. Let me stop here and pass the floor to the next speaker. Thank you.
Thank you, Siang. Morning, everyone. Happy Chinese New Year. Okay, next week. Okay, so I'm going to share with you on some of the new warrants that we have issued. Okay, notably there were 3 US stock warrants. Okay, so in a market that's only RHB Investment Bank who's issuing US stock warrants. Okay, of course you will see some US index like S&P 500, Nasdaq index warrants in the market, but for stock warrants we are the only one. We have Nvidia C3, AMD C2, and Broadcom C2. Okay, so all these are, as we know, the tech giants. All right, so we have this exercise price that's actually quite close to the current share price. So you might be thinking, how do we actually trade on US stock warrants? Because the time zone difference, right? So we will actually use the after market price to market make on the warrants. So during the daytime, you won't be seeing the warrant price move drastically. Okay, so this will actually serve for investors who actually hold for, more than one day. Then you will see the price movement in the share price, in the warrant price. Okay, another thing is that all these warrants, Nvidia, Broadcom, and AMD, they can be invested through Ringgit Malaysia on Bursa. So it will be in Ringgit lah, so you don't actually have to fork out some US dollars if you want some leverage exposure. Okay, so this is the list of our new warrants. It's a long list. Okay, if you want to know more, you can definitely use the warrant search function on the website. Or on the other hand, you can actually use the new warrants announcement. But I normally use warrant search because you can actually compare you can actually look at the sensitivity and effective gearing on this warrant. I have actually bolded 3 warrants right here. Maybe you cannot see because it's actually just bolded. Okay, so these 3 warrants are actually quite popular. I would say popular and also highly traded in the past 2 days because we actually issued this on Monday. All right, so the past few days we have seen high traded volume in Dufu C11. Okay, Dufu C11, it's actually down here. Okay, with the exercise price of 2 ringgit and 8 cents with an effective gearing of 3 times. So if you look at the warrant price, it's around 7 cents. That was like, this is a off market price lah. So means that when the market opens, then you check on this mother share price, and then you use the price matrix, and then you will see what is the fair bid price and also the ask price for Dufu C11. Yesterday, very, very high traded volume in Suncon C58 as well. So this is a new warrants from RHB Investment Bank. The exercise price is at 5 ringgit and 90 cents. But then this one I will share with you later. How do we actually compare what kind of warrants that we want to invest when we have the same name, right? Suncon got C52 and C58. Which should we choose? And another one will be SolarVest C2. SolarVest C2, since we have listed it on Monday, then we actually see it highly traded by the investors with the effective gearing of 4 times. Yeah, so if you look at the price of the warrants, then you will be able to gauge how much will be like half a cent increase. So if like 5 cents, half a cent, then it's about 10%, right? Okay, so for US warrants, I want to highlight these US warrants is because the warrant metrics looks very different from the normal metrics like the local warrants. So this one will be like a range. It's a range, like it's a range. So like for example, Nvidia C3, you will see the sensitivity. Why is it 365 ticks? That's a lot because for normally when we look at local warrants, we'll see 5 ticks, 6 ticks, and then 10 ticks is like a lot already. So this one actually it depends on the underlying stock. So for Nvidia, it's actually listed on Nasdaq. So 365 ticks, right, on Nasdaq, then it means $3.65. So that's how they actually that's their tick size. So in this case, if you look at the warrant metrics, you know that every around $3.65, and it will actually flip up or flip down. That is the range, like it's not guaranteed must be 3 ringgit $3.65, but then it's around like $3 to $4. Yeah, then you will see the price of Nvidia move up or move down. So same applies to AMD C2 and also Broadcom C2. So this is how we actually use the warrants metrics for US warrant. But if you want to know more, you have a lot of questions or you want more clarifications, feel free to contact us at the hotline. Yeah. Okay, so Sunway Construction. So yesterday was highly traded, mother share, and also the warrants as well. So there's core warrants in the market. Suncon, I would say Sunway Construction or Sunway, Berhad, we do have a lot of core warrants in the market listed by different issuers. All right, so this is the comparison between C52 and C58. They are both having expiry more than 2 months, okay, because one expiring in May, and the latest one would be this Suncon C58. So in this case, they look the same because the sensitivity is like 5.4 ticks and this is 5.8 ticks. So it's about 5 to 6 ticks, about the same sensitivity. But then it actually serves different purpose for different investors. Okay, so for first thing, if you are more I would say a risk taker, more aggressive when your risk profile is higher, then Suncon C52 would give you a better effective gearing effect. That is due to the price of the warrant. If you look at it, assume that Suncon C52 was 6 ringgit and 29 cents. Your Suncon C52 will be at 10 cents only. But on the other hand, if you look at this one, 6 ringgit and 29 cents for Suncon C58, the warrant price will be at 14.5 cents. So if you are more of a risk-averse investor, this will actually provide, when the share drops, it will actually drop lesser because from 14.5 became 14 cents, it's lesser compared to 10 cents drop to 9.5 cents. However, in a very short-term bullish momentum movement in the stocks, right, then we will actually see that Suncon C52 is giving you a better effective gearing. But this is what happened yesterday. All right, so for today, if you have any underlying shares that you have a bullish view on, for call warrants, then you can actually compare them using the live price matrix. This will be easier for you to see which warrants will be the best that suits to your appetite. This is the warrant website. I actually wanted to highlight Maybank C2F. Maybank C2F has been, highly traded since we have listed in October. But then I think these 2 months, we actually see more volume than before. All right, Maybank C2F, I can say that is actually quite in the money because it's about 14% in money. But we look at the price movement of Maybank C2F, which is a call warrant over Maybank shares. So have you ever thought that investing in Maybank shares, because you are so bullish in it, right, it can actually brings you about double of the profit? All right, so let's compare to beginning of January. In 1 month's time, the warrant bid price was at 12 cents because that time Maybank was 11 ringgit only. Okay, but now, yesterday, Maybank actually rose to 12 ringgit and 26 cents. That is the mother share. While the warrant price from 12 cents, it became 23 cents. So 12 to 23 is about double. So from 12 to 23, so it's like almost double. And this is how you actually, if you are bullish, you think, oh, Maybank won that. Maybank is your top pick among everything. Then you can actually compare the price from 12 cents to 23 cents. Yeah, but this is for Maybank call warrants. In the case that Maybank actually move up, that's also ups and downs, right? Ups and downs. So you will actually see the effective gearing effect as well in all these type of leverage products. Yes. So yeah. So if you want to explore more, just go to RHB Warren website, warren.rhbgroup.com. If you want to contact us, you can call me at this number 0392002185. Then you will be able to reach our team. If you have you need any clarification or you want to know more about warrants, then feel free to call us. If you want instant solution, but if you have time, you have patience, that definitely drop us an email for if you have any feedback or you have any questions. And on the other hand, if you want to trade later, 30 minutes later, then just go to warrant search and then you can search for your warrants already. All right, so that's all from us today. Thank you so much for dialing in. We hope that you have a good trading day, and we'll see you tomorrow at the same time at RHB Morning Cup at 8. Thank you.